fourthly, in terms of arguments in favor of federative relationships, we have to acknowledge, and it's painful perhaps to acknowledge, but we need to acknowledge that individual congregations have inherent limitations. Individual congregations have inherent limitations. Now, this is no attack on this congregation or any congregation. It's just a fact of life, and it's illustrated by our own individual lives. Why did Christ give spiritual gifts? Remember? Why did Christ give spiritual gifts? Why do they vary amongst each other? Well, because each of us are limited. Not all of us are teachers. Not all of us are helpers. We have limitations. And so the Spirit has poured out gifts so that we could come together with our gifts and limitations and be effective, be productive. So the spiritual gifts offset our personal weaknesses. So too, on a congregational level, federative relationships help to offset our congregational weaknesses. We have limitations. Our individual vision is limited. Our individual vision as a congregation is limited. Just to illustrate, 1 Corinthians 13, verses 9 and 10 speak, I believe, not only to individuals, but also to congregations, which are simply assemblies of individuals. Paul says, for we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect has come, then that which is in part will be done away. Of course, he's talking about the end of the age, when we will no longer know in part, but we'll know fully, even as we are now fully known. Well, our individual vision is limited. And that's why, for example, we have and believe in having a plurality of elders. There are churches in which only the minister is considered to be an elder. And that's a very dangerous situation, where the minister is making all of the decisions. That'd be a scary situation. I believe should be for the minister and for the congregation, have one person making the decisions. That's why we believe in a plurality of elders, so that the spiritual decisions that are made in a congregation are not made by one person, but are made by the consistory, the body of elders. Well, for this same reason, we believe it's proper to federate with other churches. Our vision as a congregation is limited. We're limited by our background. We're limited by our geographical location and isolation. We're limited by our wisdom. We're limited by our past experiences. Now, the good news is that God has provided a pattern so that these weaknesses can be offset by the strengths of others. That's why member churches, members of federations, meet together in consultation to guard against human imperfections and to benefit from the wisdom of a multitude of counselors in the broader assemblies.